Hi, this is Kevin Deal from Upscale Audio, and today we're going to talk about an old guy becoming young again. I just had a birthday last Sunday, and it was a very annoying one. They say that a young man wants to leave home and an old man wants to go home, which means that we hearken back to the things from our past that make us feel good. And this is one of those things that really makes me feel good, because back in the late 70s, I started working at a stereo store and we sold Klipsch. And I've always been fond of their stuff, and I'm going to tell you why. A good horn speaker, I'm not talking about the ones that sound like this. I'm talking about a good horn loudspeaker can do some magical things. It can take all of those old crappy rock and roll recordings that you have and make them breathe, where you have a greater difference between light and dark and loud and soft. I mean, I think about Led Zeppelin, Dazed and Confused, or The Doors doing The End, or I mean, about a million other albums. And you pop them onto a speaker like this, and it just turns it into a fun event. I'm telling you something, this speaker is fun. Another great thing about the speaker, though, and Sam talks about it, is he says that you don't have to have a ridiculous amplifier to make them work. You can run these with a headphone amp. They're 105 dB efficient. That means you can run them with just 5 watts of power. You'll never use more than a couple watts of power. I mean, want to use a single-ended amp? Go ahead and do it. Now, I prefer a good push-pull amp, like a Prima Luna Prologue Premium Integrated and a pair of these, or a Dialogue Premium Integrated and a pair of these. Will rock your world. You don't need much power. You do want to get an amp with good bandwidth, and I'll give you one other tip. If you're going to go with preamps and power amps, and you go with a tube preamp, don't use a preamp that has 20 dB of gain or higher, because you're going to get more idle hiss. You want to make sure that you use a preamp that has low gain. The Prima Luna Dialogue Premium has 10 dB of gain. That's perfect. Look, this speaker is an absolute achievement, and I'll tell you why. I looked it up. I used it. I think that manufacturers are starting to get ridiculous with price increases. And you know, I've bitched about this. I'm very grumpy about it because I think that they become abusive. I went back and I looked at the price that they sold these for, I think in 1971, and I used an inflation calculator to see how today's price of $8,000 compares. And it's just right above the inflation line. These guys have done an amazing job of not, and they've improved the speaker. The Scala II is a much better speaker than the original Scala, right? And even with all those improvements, they haven't jacked up the price. For God's sakes, it's 175 pounds for $8,000 a pair. Now, if that freaks you out that it weighs that much, listen. It comes in 2 pieces, so don't worry about it. It's actually a pretty easy speaker to handle and to position in your room. It's not tough. Now let's get to the center of the speaker. 15-inch horn-loaded bass driver, fabulous bass, dynamic bass, 2-inch horn-loaded mid-range driver, 1-inch tweeter. All of them have been greatly improved over the drivers that they made back in the 60s. I mean, and what's happened now is this speaker is a smooth speaker. If you think that they're going to be bright, the opposite is true. It has a sense of grace. It's easy to listen to. Women who have a lot of sensitivity to brightness find the speaker to be wonderful to listen to. This is what Sam Tellig said when he reviewed the speaker for Stereophile magazine. He talks about surprises, and he goes on to say this. He says, the Scala II's mid-range and treble were exceptionally smooth. Then he goes on to say, I experienced no listening fatigue, even when using a solid-state amp. As for serious horn-loaded colorations, you know, the cupped hand sort of stuff, I didn't hear any. Then he goes on to say, the third surprise is, these speakers could image. Maybe that's the last thing you expect from a big box loudspeaker. The soundstage was spacious, the performance precisely placed, their imaging was excellent, side to side, front to back, up and down. And then he says the Scala's real payoff is its high sensitivity. You don't have to pour money into heroic amplification. You can use a flea watt amp. You could, like I did, even use a headphone amp. And that's absolutely true. Get the best speaker that you can. Don't overspend on electronics. Get really good electronics that are better, that are not overpriced. That's how you get $50,000 performance for $10,000. So Sam was going to buy these. He actually said it in his review. And then there was a letter section in Stereophile, and somebody said, "Did you actually do it?" And his wife, Maria, said, "No, they're too big, and they didn't have a place to store them while he was reviewing other speakers." My wife, Miss Laura, loves these because, I mean, they are just beautiful to look at. They're so retro, they're fun. But Sam did answer this guy in the letter section, and he says, "I would have kept them for sure had it been for his wife." The current Klipsch Scala is truly a great loudspeaker. Few others do dynamics so well. And I'm talking real dynamics, or what audiophiles call macro dynamics. And at the price, they are a steal. And if you think big horn-loaded speakers don't image well, well, you haven't heard the Scalas. Enjoy. I sure did. And it is true. I love this speaker. I love what it stands for. I love the history of Klipsch. Go read the review and learn about this company. They make amazing products. We're very proud to be a dealer. I think I mentioned it takes weeks, months to get these once you order them. So I've made a decision. We stock them in all finishes. That way you have them instantly. You can call us up, have them today. They come in cherry, walnut, black ash. The finishes are amazing. They do all their woodworking in-house. This is a true craftsman product for an amazing, amazing price. I applaud this company. Give us a call, go to our website, come to our beautiful 10,000 square foot store. We will treat your system like it's our system. Thanks.